nurture it, and let it shine. So let's get quiet for about 15 minutes. I want to thank you for being part of our service so far, for preparing yourself and preparing our space for what is to come, which will be amazing. So take a deep breath. If you need to get up, shake it out. If you want to stay quiet, that's fine too. And we'll see you at 10:15.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, whether you are here in the sanctuary at 4 Points by Sheridan, or you have invited us into your homes. We are very glad that you have joined us today. Thank you all so very much. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Ripplemeyer. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the honor and the privilege of being this community's spiritual director. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that honors all paths and promotes global transformation through personal transformation. We're a spiritual community that can support you as you strive to experience a personal relationship with God. A spiritual community where you are respected and accepted for who you are, a space and place for inspiration, insight, and revelation, as well as loving support to assist you to grow into your highest and best self. No matter where you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. So again, thank you so very much. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a global community of approximately 450 spiritual centers, teaching chapters, and special focus ministries in over 30 countries worldwide. Centers for Spiritual Living is a practical and positive philosophy, faith, and way of life that is really dedicated to transforming lives through providing powerful spiritual practices and principles for our individual lives, and for also assisting the world to discover possibilities in order for it to become a world that actually works for all. In this moment, I'd like to thank Marianne Atwell Hardy for her beautiful meditation that has expanded the container in which our service will unfold. So yes, thank you very much, Marianne. Now, today's flower dedication, as it is for the first Sunday of every month, is for all of the people that are celebrating their birthday in July. Now, raise your hand if that's you. Woo! Yeah, so we have a couple people here in the room, and I'm imagining there's at least one or two out there in the, whatever it is called, cyberspace. And so we congratulate you and celebrate you on your birthday. So please, everyone else, hold out your hands to them. One back row on each side, and repeat after me. We see you. We know who you really are. We celebrate you. And the day you arrived on the planet. We are grateful for you in our community. And we love you. So, for those of you that are here and those of you that are out there, because you would have time to join us, please join us and all of the January birthday people for a lunch bunch in your July. July. Oh my God. I'm trying to make us younger than we are, right? Go back in time a little bit. So we will have this lunch bunch in your honor. We will be going to the Tribeca Tavern in Morrisville. Please let Heather or myself know if you are planning on joining us, and we can make sure that you know the address and everything. So now in this moment, if we could invite Sandy to return to his piano, and we'll sing happy birthday to all y'all.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! Good morning. Good morning. Woo! Yes, I love that. That kind of energy. And we just said happy birthday to everyone. Whew. And it's just a beautiful day. Such a wonderful day to be alive. So much gratitude. So my name's Amy Ledwell, and I have the honor of doing the announcements for today. So I'm going to try to be quick as I possibly can, but we know that that might not happen. Okay? So if you see an arm, come pull me off. You understand what's happening. I'm talking too much, but I enjoy being here, and I enjoy sharing, and I enjoy the laughter. It's literally in my heart. So what a beautiful day. Okay, so for our announcements today, and thank you for being with us. The first one, on Wednesday evening services throughout 2024, they are called Beyond Sunday. So please join us at 7 p.m. on Zoom. The link is available on our Wednesday newsletter or on our website during the month of July. You are invited to join us as we explore the gifts of Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. Yeah, it's beautiful. I've already been to the first session, and let me tell you, it's absolutely amazing. This book is an invitation to join a wholehearted revolution, a small, quiet, grassroots movement that starts with each of us saying, "My story matters." Why? Because I matter. Okay? A movement where we can live our messy, heartbreaking, grace-filled, joyful lives, right? Out loud. So we don't live quietly, we live out loud. And oh, I love this. Revolution might sound a little dramatic, but in this world, choosing authenticity and worthiness is an absolute act of resistance. And you know, last month we just had rest is resistance. So sometimes you've got to learn how to resist. It's important. Mary Ann Atwell Hartley, RSCP, and Heather Abbott, RSCP, will be facilitating the conversation. Although reading the book is not required, I encourage you to consider checking it out and reading the book. Okay, it's not a big book, so you can do it. You can get through it. And they're going through it week by week, so it's possible. Okay? All right. Whew. Announcement number 2. I am so excited. Can't you even just tell how my voice is changing? I really am excited, okay? So I'm trying to put myself in control here, but, well, that's not really going to happen. But I'm excited to announce that our annual friend and fundraiser, Gourmet for Gods, is a unique community builder and fundraiser for our center. Currently, we are accepting hosts and events. The events are created and hosted by TCSL people and can be simple or elaborate. Hosts can sponsor more than one event, or you can pair up, which I'm hoping to pair up to, with a co-host to offer a distinctive event. So please complete a separate host registration form for each event. This last week, while we receive a few more registrations for events, we know we can do even better. So we're extending the date one more week because, you know, it was supposed to end sooner, but now we have until Sunday, the 14th of July. So make sure you sign up. Then for the next 4 weeks, we will facilitate a silent auction. The silent auction will begin on Sunday, July 21st, and it will end on Sunday, August 18th. Anyone can bid. There's no limit to how many events you can bid for, and you don't need to be a TCSL member to participate. The events happen from September 1st through November 15th. I know. I see. It might have said 17th, but we're ending on my birthday, okay? The 15th. So please make sure you sign up for the November 15th event. I mean, I'm not forcing you or anything, but Just saying. Out in nature. Okay. Remember that this is our most important annual fundraiser. Please consider hosting an event and submit your registration as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please contact Ms. Heather Abbott. Okay? All right. Number 3, this announcement and an invitation to purchase your tickets for a very special house concert. Ooh. This is Bob Sema and Sharon Plummer. They will be here on Friday, July 26th. Not here at the center, but actually they're going to be being hosted by Miles and Letha Costin. So this is going to be beautiful, great concert, and it will be held at their home in Pleasant Union, on Pleasant Union Church Road in Raleigh. The doors will open at 7 p.m. with the concert starting at 7:30, and it will go until about 9 o'clock. So the tickets are required for entry, $30 for a single ticket, $50 if it's a couple, a pair. Snacks and non-alcoholic beverages will be available. However, bring your own adult beverage. Okay. I just gotta look at the watch. Oh, okay, okay. Not for me, so I can take my time.
No, I didn't say that.
See here at this community center, at this center, we believe in communication because we understand the power of communication. So, Reverend Dusty just communicated with me. Okay. All right. All right. So, again, though, this concert is going to be amazing, and everything that I've ever heard. I've not had the pleasure of hearing Bob and Shannon, but I've heard others talk about this, so it sounds amazing. And I've had an opportunity to visit the Costins' house, their home, and it's a beautiful space, so I can only imagine. The concert is called Consciousness in Concert. Can you imagine what is going to unfold for you? It's going to be beautiful. Bob's music bridges daily life and soul consciousness through instantly accessible songs that take up residence in your soul. So this is beautiful. Shannon's harmonies are so perfectly tuned into Bob's voice that it's as if there's only one voice coming forth on the stage. So they bring a catalog of original music and 2 powerful voices that can bring any community or gathering closer. So this is important. This is so key. So how wonderful is it to be in a space, a place where you're hearing music and it brings you together as a community? That's lovely. It's exactly what happens here when you come in person on Sundays. All right, so there is a QR code here on the screen, and all you have to do is just put your camera up to it, and you'll be able to, it'll take you immediately to that space so you can get your tickets. There's also, if you're here in the center, there's a table outside. I know, I put it up myself today. It also has a QRC code, and you can use that as well. So that you can get your tickets. The code also came out as a constant contact last week. And if you receive our Wednesday newsletter, look in your inbox. I strongly encourage everyone to attend this concert. You will be very glad you did. All right. And finally, even though I know it pains you to know that I'll be leaving from this space shortly and going back to my seat, I'm going to give you, just one more announcement. This is our first announcement, though, for our annual Durham Bulls game outing. Okay, I don't know if you play baseball, if you enjoy going to the Durham Bulls, but I've seen the pictures. I've never been, but I've seen the pictures, and it looks amazing. Now, I may have to change my position on whether or not I'm a baseball person because the pictures look like everybody's having fun. Okay, so I would say sign up. They have 20 tickets for the game that's going to be on Friday evening, August 30th. And the first 20 people who call, text, or email Heather Abbott, and I guess we'll have to have Heather's telephone number so we can actually text her, right? She'll give us a number. Okay. But it's only the first 20 people. So it's a very fun evening with fellowship. You're going to have a great game. You're going to have wonderful seats. And you're going to have the best fireworks ever. So if you didn't get a chance to really see the fireworks for the 4th because it rained where you were located at, you've got a backup right here. Okay? So I'm just saying, August 30th. So I hope you enjoyed the announcements. I really appreciate you allowing me to be me because I was being my most authentic self. Okay? And thank you. And, I try to say that there are some imperfections, but I am perfectly created exactly the way I'm meant to be right now at this moment. Thank you. All right, so now I'd like for us to all stand as we sing our opening congregational song, You and Me, by Mr. Eddie Watkins, Jr. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Come on. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is.
Morning. They agree. That's right. The theme for 2024 is A Grand Rising. Our theme for the month of July is Practice Makes Imperfect. And Rev Casey's message today is What if perfection isn't the goal? I'm going to read this community's purpose statement, which is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to practice His truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. So I invite you now to get quiet. This is our time to just open our hearts and minds, our ears, to get ready for the message that will come next. So I invite you to just listen to the crystal bowls all the way to the end and just let the sound wash over you. And as the sound of the bowl continues to reverberate in a quieter way within us, I invite you back into the room. And I'd like you to welcome Hope, who will be assisting us in our blessing of all people. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors both the truth that we are all created by God out of the same God stuff and that there's a multiplicity of divine emanations, each individualized and unique in their own way as represented by this ceremony. Whether this is your first time with us or your 1000th time or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are in the room physically or participating via technology or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your soul is full of joy and possibility, or your heart is heavy and your mind is consumed with troubles or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you're brand new to the science of mind philosophy, or you have practiced it for a long time, or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your skin, eye, and hair color are a rich dark shade, or you are the palest tint of that color, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are a straight cisgender man or woman, or you identified with the LGBTQ plus community, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your politics tend toward the red side or toward the blue side or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you were born and raised in this country or came from a different land or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are married or single or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are in the first third of your life, the third of your life, or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you feel your connection with God is the driving force in your life, or you aren't sure you even believe in God, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Each and every color is beautiful, unique, and significant. They all combine together into an amazing whole. Thank you all for contributing your special vibration to today's service and to life itself. Thanks. Thank you, Hope.
Good morning. I now invite you to close your outer eyes if you're comfortable and turn within as I speak a word of blessing on today's service. I'm so grateful in this moment for the power and presence of the one divine Spirit. So grateful for that love and that peace, that joy that surrounds us, that embraces us, that lifts us, that holds us in every moment. So grateful to know my oneness with it, knowing that I am a spiritual being having this human experience in all its perfection and imperfection. I know that is the truth of me, as I know that is the truth of each person within the sound of my voice, each sentient being, that we are all one. I speak a word of blessing on today's service, knowing that it is whole, perfect, and complete, even as it has just begun. Blessing Reverend Dusty for her amazing presence in our community, her leadership, her love, her care. Blessing Mary Ann for her beautiful meditation, for her service in this month, for Wednesdays, and for her holding our community through her practitionership. Blessing Sandy as he comes forth with his beautiful gift of music, sharing with us, lifting us. Grateful for Ava and Martin for their service to our community, and AV, allowing us to be seen and heard online. Blessing Reverend Casey as they come forth with their amazing message today. So grateful for their presence in our greater CSL community, and their blessing us with their presence here today. Grateful for each person that's here at 4 Points, each person that's watching online, whether now as we go live or in the future, knowing that it takes us all to be this community and to create this world that works for all. For all these blessings and for so many more that I'm not even aware of, I am grateful, and I ask you to anchor this with me with our words, and so it is. So it is. Thank you. Our reading for today is from the book Redefining Realness, My Path to Womanhood, Identity, Love, and So Much More by Janet Mock. She says, I shed my anonymity in Marie Claire magazine because I wanted to disclose an aspect of my identity that I felt was widely misunderstood and often invisible. That catalytic piece moved people to think differently, disrupting the portrait of womanhood. It was the pivot in which I decided to invite the world into my life, when I chose to acknowledge that though you may not perceive me as trans, I am trans. And being trans, as is being Black, Hawaiian, young, and a woman, is an integral part of my experience, one that I have no investment in erasing. All of these parts of myself coexist in my body, a representation of evolution and migration and truth. My body carries within its frame beauty and agony, certainty and murkiness, loathing and love, and I've learned to accept it as is. For so much of my life, I wished into the dark to be someone else, some elusive ideal that represented possibility and contentment. I was steadily reaching into the dark across a chasm that separated who I was, who I thought I should be. Somewhere along the way, I grew weary of grasping at possible selves just out of reach. So I put my arms down and wrapped them around me. I began healing by embracing myself through the foreboding darkness until the sunrise shone on my face. Eventually, I emerged and surrendered to the brilliance, discovering truth, beauty, and peace that was already mine. And now, please help me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Sandy Hemingway.
Good morning, everyone. This is a song I wrote almost 10 years ago. It's called Let It Flow. Take a moment, take a breath. Silence all the voices in your head. You don't have to force it. You'll get to where you go. In your place of peace, you'll find the flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Find your feet, let it go. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Make a promise, make a vow. And don't believe the can't inside you now. You are just a channel, and God already knows. In your place of peace, you'll find the flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Find your feet, let it go. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Find your fear, let it go. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Doubts can be released when you find your place of peace. Perfection is around you, let it flow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandy. That was beautiful. How many people love that reading today? I love that reading. And so we are already being blessed before we've even invited Reverend Casey to come up to the pulpit because they chose that reading for us today. So Reverend K.C. Taylor, whose pronouns are they and them, is the senior minister and co-founder of Spirit Uncensored, described as a spiritual playground highlighting the value of choice, faith, and gratitude. They also serve as the office administrator of Centers for Spiritual Living, the assistant minister at the United Life CSL, and as the case manager at SISU Youth Services in Oklahoma City. SISU Youth Services is a low-barrier LGBT plus affirming youth homeless shelter. Prior to Oklahoma City, Reverend Taylor was a TV creative executive at Juvie Productions, which some of you might recognize as Viola Davis's and Julius Tennan's production company in Los Angeles. So we are very blessed by Reverend Casey's presence here today, and I just invite you to welcome her, as I do, to the pulpit.
Grand Rising, y'all. So, fun fact, the annual theme of 2024 Grand Rising comes out of CSU Youth Services. I bet y'all didn't know this. So I'm glad I get to be here and tell you that. CSU Youth Services, as Reverend Dusty mentioned, is a homeless shelter, but also has transitional living programs to help transition youth from shelter into something in between living independently, because generally somebody who's homeless at 16 is not necessarily ready to pay rent and bills and cook for themselves from a homeless shelter setting to an apartment. And so there are these transitional living programs that help transition and provide those support services so that as they go into independent living, that they have that support moving them through that. And all kinds of services are provided to help prevent homelessness, help prevent youth homelessness. And the thought is to help address chronicity, that when you look at the state of homelessness today, a big part of it has to do with the fact that these youth programs did not exist. And I don't know if Raleigh's got a youth shelter or not, but I'm pretty sure there is not one. Yeah, y'all are shaking your heads. There might be one, it sounds like. There's a short term. That's what I'm hearing. So, this concept of really cities investing time and energy and money, resources into youth homelessness is a relatively new concept that I think really addresses this concept of perfection not being the goal. That for me, as a case manager of supporting youth in that transition, I had to know, I wouldn't say I had to know, what I was going to say, let me just tell you what I was going to say and then tell you what the correction is. What I was going to say was that I have to know that all of my clients will not find success with me. And the reality is that perspective is not valuable. I never walked into work that day, whatever it may be, working with whatever client saying, well, this person's a lost cause. I never did that. But with the balance, the perfectly imperfect of it all is that as a case manager, I had to find my own boundaries, that I was not really able to provide the level of support that I wanted to be able to give if I wasn't setting clear boundaries. And the other thing, it wasn't just about me and being able to give, it was also about recognizing that I'm setting up these youth for success by giving them realistic expectations. And somebody who is addressing their needs in every single call 24/7 is not what you can expect from social services in a city. So I needed to provide a service that was realistic to what they can expect. So what I meant by the fact that I could not expect every single client to come out perfectly after working with me over the course of the time that they did is this recognition that I can't put my own ideas of perfection onto someone else, especially a young person. That, somebody is moving through an entire projection of life that I won't know. I have no idea what they do after they leave the shelter and don't know what their life is going to look like. And I have no way of knowing whether I've impacted the extent. I know I've impacted this youth life, but the extent of impacting this youth life is something that I will never know and is not quantifiable. So the question is, what if perfection isn't the goal? Then what is? And I've been sitting with that over the course of this week. Actually, yeah, I would say over the course of this week. And I honestly didn't have an answer until I arrived here today. And what I just said about impact, that's one of the answers. I got 3 answers. For if perfection isn't the goal, what is? Impact is one of them. And so it's this recognition of my journey of serving as a case manager has not, well, one, I didn't even expect to be a case manager. Like, how does one go from a TV executive in LA to a case manager at a youth shelter in Oklahoma City? I can't even explain this line of how it happened and how I ended up where I was. But I do know that what inspired me to work into television to begin with, and what's inspired me to do every single thing that I do, is about making an impact on the spaces and places where I am. I want to leave the world a better place than when I found it. And that's just been a call on my heart from the very beginning. And I find that despite the mistakes that I've made as a case manager, as a TV executive, and all of the things that I've done, that the perfection wasn't what mattered. No one's going to look back at my life and think about all of the things that I did right. They're going to think about all of the communities that I've impacted, all of the ways that I've served and created a significant shift in the world. And to be honest, the person who brought me to that one conclusion was Ava, who's running sound here, where at the beginning of this service, I was just sharing how my work through home office, through all of the things that I'm doing, I was kind of in this like, what is it for? And Ava said to me, well, if it impacts one person, isn't it worth it? And I was like, yes, Ava, that was exactly what I needed to hear today. Amen. Right? So, I just got an opportunity to recognize that when we understand that life is unfolding perfectly at all times in all ways, that each one of us is being guided by a presence to each space that we occupy, and that presence is good all the time, then we get to know that we don't need to quantify our impact, that we don't need to review how perfect we were over the course of time, that we get to simply just trust and know that we are always exactly where we are meant to be, doing exactly what we are meant to be doing. Amen. So the second thing, if perfection isn't the goal, what is the goal? Impact. That's number one. Another goal is inclusivity, which you all are doing so well. There are very few centers for spiritual living communities where I can show up and speak, and that my pronouns are recognized, affirmed, that I'm introduced with my pronouns, and utilized. When we did our big circle prayer today, in all the prayers that have had my name in it included, my pronouns have been honored and respected every sense of the way. We read this reading from a Black trans Hawaiian woman this morning, that this is what inclusivity looks like. And this rainbow ceremony that you all have at the beginning of service, I want a copy of what it is that you say, or I might just steal it and write it down. This is how impact works. Setting up a space and saying, this is a place for you to be who you are, that is incredibly powerful. And that alone is where impact comes into play. So the third concept of if perfection isn't the goal, what is? That came to my mind. This was the first quality that came when I wrote it down on my phone, but I ended up not needing it. I remembered these 3 words for myself. This came from a conversation that I had with Amy when I walked in the door. And it started with first Dusty, Reverend Dusty gave me a hug and said, "How are you? Are you doing okay?" And I held her tight and I said, "No." And Reverend Dusty said, "Well, since you're about to speak, let's talk about it after service so you're not in that headspace of like getting all that out," which I'm glad she knew that that was what I wanted. I didn't have to articulate out loud. I knew that this was a place that I can be safe and speak my truth. If somebody asks me a question, that I can be honest about how I am, that I don't have to worry about the fact that I'm speaking today, that, Spirit put me here for a reason, so I have to know and trust that. And so I was just allowing myself to be guided, and I was in that, no, I'm not okay energy when Amy and I had our first conversation. And I didn't tell Amy that I wasn't okay when we had our conversation. I think Amy said something like, "How's the family?" And I said, "Not great, but I'm moving in the flow." So I shared this story about how I've been living in flow lately. And that concept is something that I think we talk about. Like, we talk about the concept of surrender and release and trusting Spirit to guide every move. But how do we operate in flow is something that I feel like I've never really read a specific book about it. I've read chapters in it. If you're familiar with the 4 pivots, I think it's the book of the year for this year. The 4 pivots, the 4th pivot is moving from hustle to flow. And so I'd been in that movement of moving from hustle to flow, so I didn't even read that pivot. I was like, I don't need Sean's interpretation of this. This is how I've been doing it, Dr. Sean Ginwright's interpretation. So this concept of flow, of if it's not for perfection, perfection's not the goal, impact, inclusion, and flow. So flow doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look pretty a lot of the time. And most things don't really look pretty. Like, the concept of doing anything involves something yucky involved. So, in my own journey of discovering my own flow and moving into it, that that process was actually pretty clean, but like the process of letting go of the habits that no longer serve me has been messy. And I am doing the best that I can to honor my heart during this time, to prioritize rest. So grateful that Rest is Resistance was the book of the month last month to help remind me and honor my period, my flow of rest. But I really want to talk about the value and the impact of what it means to really stay present and allow ourselves to be guided from one moment to the next. So in this healing that I've been talking about, I'm not doing a whole lot of staying present, and that's okay. I don't need to be perfect. But I'm doing a better job than I've ever done before. And I've been more intentional about it than I've ever been before. So there's no judgment, and that's the beautiful part for me about being a minister. My whole thing, just so y'all know, my entire thing about me and being a minister has been for me. No, there was never a part in my life back before I became a minister that said, I want to stand on a stage and give inspirational messages. But I did say that there was something within me that I wanted to have an impact. And so television, I felt like story was the best way to do that. And so I was inspired to take a leap of faith, and the Centers for Spiritual Living is where I got this understanding of faith that I was comfortable with to be able to take that leap to Los Angeles. And so that leap and the coursework from the Centers for Spiritual Living, I believe, is a direct reflection of the life that I have lived. That, I started at the Centers for Spiritual Living when I first started taking classes. I was unemployed and had been unemployed for like a year and a half in LA. And I was really frustrated with the fact that I had taken this leap of faith, and it had taken a year and a half to get a part-time job. It took another year to get a full-time job. But all of those challenges inspired me to dig deeper into what the Centers for Spiritual Living was teaching. So I was taking classes I would have never taken if I wasn't experiencing those challenges. And I continued to take those classes because as I was taking them, those results were occurring instantaneously. My favorite story was in practitioner class, as I was struggling with the experience of attracting a full-time job. It had been 2.5 years by that moment. There was a assignment in class that was to identify a condition in your life that you'd like to change and identify the belief that you have that created that condition and write a prayer affirming that new belief. For a practitioner class, they don't play. So I spent that week really thinking about how have I been getting in my own way to experience this. I wanted to work in the entertainment industry because I wanted to know how it worked. Like, I can read all the things that I want to read, but unless you're in it and meeting the people and doing the things that you do every day, you're not doing anything. And so I really wanted that. And so I spent that week really reflecting on all of the beliefs that I have that made me feel like I wasn't ready, that I wasn't right, that I wouldn't like it, and release them. And while I was in class reading the prayer, I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. Sat down at my desk after the prayer was over and checked my email, and it was the president of a production company asking me if I was still looking for a job. So those kinds of stories, that happening, like this direct impact of I take this class, I do this assignment, and then my life transforms, that day was really working for me. So I mean it when I say that I wasn't trying to be a minister. I was just trying to educate myself. That was all it was. And as a continued minister, that's what I'm continuing to do. The reason I've read some of the 4 pivots, I've done 2 of the book studies. I didn't finish either one of them, but like I read some of the book. I had discussions about them. I did what I could. And for me, the context of a book study really helps me read a book. I am more likely to finish one if I'm doing it with a group, but also, the experience of doing it slowly and then hearing other people really helps me internalize it. So this imperfect book study y'all got going on, I strongly recommend it. So going back to flow. So I've been in this, I was very focused on finding success in the television industry, and then I got somewhere, and everything was going great. And with COVID, when we started doing the shelter at home thing, as an extrovert, I really struggled with that. At first, I adapted to it pretty well, but once we started having this conversation about race together as a country, I was done. Like, my body was like, no, we're not doing any of this living on the computer 100% of the time. Like, we need to be doing something different. And so I really dove into a healing journey as a result of necessity, as my body and heart and mind were requiring it of me. And I didn't know, like even today, as I'm talking about flow, I didn't even know I'd be talking about flow. I knew I was talking about perfection isn't the goal, but what is? I didn't know flow was the answer until I got here. So that's really what flow does, though. And for me as a minister, one of the reasons that I've been able to continue to show up as a speaker in the way that I do is because I've seen my only job as listening and allowing myself to be guided. And sometimes that has me in really uncomfortable positions. When I first started speaking, I did not feel good about showing up on a Sunday morning knowing I did not know what I was going to say. And now that I'm 6-7 years into it, I don't know, I haven't counted lately, that I'm at a point where when I knew I didn't know what I was going to say when I got here, it doesn't scare me like it did when I first started speaking. So I've been trusting. I don't know what comes next, but I do know that Spirit has never let me down and is not about to start now. So I don't know where we are on time. I didn't count, but I'm good. I'm feeling like, I know, of all people, Amy would be the one to tell me I'm fine. Right? Yes. So now I'm going to wrap us up and move us into prayer and remind us of these three qualities, that perfection isn't the goal. It does not serve us. I can't speak for you specifically, but as a recovering perfectionist, I can tell you that having an emotional attachment to perfection does not serve us. That doesn't mean don't do your best. That does not mean don't work hard. Yes, for sure, do those things. But all I'm saying is there's no reason for us to beat ourselves up for things not being the way that they want it to be, or even criticize ourselves. That we get to look at every experience, every situation as an opportunity for a blessing and a lesson. It doesn't need to be self-criticism, but we live in a culture of that. So I think the reason that we have a tendency to criticize ourselves is because we live in a world that tells us that we're not enough, that the capitalist society makes money from the fact that we think we're not enough, and so we buy things to feel better. That's what we are designed to do. And one of the beautiful things, that is it. One of the beautiful things about the Centers for Spiritual Living is that this is one of the few places in the world that you can go to be reminded that not only are you enough, but that you are being honored, that you are celebrated, that this is a place for you to be who you are and loved for who you are. Inclusivity, that's what I'm saying. So let's affirm this together in prayer, shall we? Does that feel good? Hey, Sandy, I didn't ask you this before. Would you be open to like doing some piano behind prayer? Yes. I love when people say yes to me. And Sandy's already in flow, like sang this song about flow. So I was thinking, how perfect is this? I didn't know I was going to be talking about flow. Sandy's song is about flow, and now we're about to flow into some prayer. All right. So I invite us to take a moment to get comfortable in the spaces that we're in the room, online, wherever we are, bringing our conscious attention and awareness to our own understanding of the divine. Knowing that divine understanding is an individualized knowing. That each one of us understands God differently, may use different words like spirit and source, because we are a diverse representation of what spirit is, how it expresses itself. And I am grateful that we are here to celebrate one another, that we are here to recognize that spirit created each one of us in its own likeness. And our own understanding of what spirit is a divine appointment for each one of us. And I'm grateful to trust and know that every single moment is a divine appointment. So I know that everybody who is here is hearing what they are meant to hear. I know that everybody who is experiencing this service and the Centers for Spiritual Living, Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, are all of the right people to be a part of this community, doing all of the right perfect things. And that this community being a perfect example of flow, of inclusivity, and making an impact in the community, one moment, one person, one breath at a time, I know creates a ripple of love, a ripple of authenticity, a ripple of inclusion, and a ripple of shifting into living from flow, of being present, of listening to our own understanding of our higher power and allowing it to guide us to adventures and places and spaces that we may have never imagined for ourselves. And I'm so grateful for all that we experience and impact in the world as a result of having participated in this experience. Grateful for the impact on our individual lives and the fact that impact flows, that other people are inspired by the example that we put forth. So I'm so grateful for this example. I'm grateful for the shift that is taking place across the planet, across the universe, here and now. And in gratitude, I invite us to affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.
So, thank you so very much, Reverend Casey. That was awesome. Let's give them another round. So it is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. And this is the moment every week when we offer financial support to this community to assist us to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area. Together, we affirm the truth that this offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are 3 different ways that you can give. They're here on the screen or on your screens at home. Visit our website at trianglecsl.org. There's a little button up in the top right-hand corner that says Give, and you could text the word Give to the following number, 919-629-9148, or you can mail your gift to our office at PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. Now, in this moment, I invite everyone to please place your hand over your heart with your gift or an intention for yourself or this community, and we'll say our offering affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you all so very much for your generosity. And while the ushers are passing the basket around, let's all please welcome Sandy back up to his piano.
Thank you. This is another song that I wrote a few years ago, and it's about the fact that a lot of times we don't know what we're looking at when we're in the middle of things. And so the other song, I said, perfection is all around us. A lot of times perfect things are happening, but we only realize it much, much later. This is called Sunshine Within the Heart. Every day is new. The stars all decide to hide. Clouds may have struck the view. Still the sun will rise. Whenever the sun is shining, we think it allows us to see. But hidden behind the light, the stars still gleam. Appearances can be deceiving. Starlight can only be seen in the dark. Living the truth means believing. There's sunshine within the heart. Sunshine within the heart. And just because we cannot see doesn't mean it is not there. When life is darkest, look within to find the spark of sunshine within the heart. Every night we dream, first we must close our eyes. Blinded we then can see movies in our minds. Wherever we go when dreaming, it vanishes when we arise. A word of our own creation in our minds. Reality can be deceiving. Dreaming can only be done in the dark. Living the truth means believing. There's sunshine within the heart. Sunshine within the heart. Just because we cannot see doesn't life is darkest, look within to find the spark of sunshine within the heart. And just because we cannot see doesn't mean it is not there. When life is darkest, look within to find the spark of sunshine within the heart. Every day is new. Everyone gets to find sunshine within the heart. Thank you.
Beautiful, Sandy. Thank you so much. If you would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. And on the home page, you can click on More, and then on Prayer, fill out that form, and we will get that to all the ministers and practitioners to know those prayers for you. If you would like to help us in providing beautiful flowers for the pulpit each Sunday, as well as speaking a dedication out to someone in your life that's celebrating something, or just someone you want to remind that you love them, please send me an email at info@trianglecsl.org or to Reverend Dusty at dustyripplemeyer@yahoo.com. And now please stand for our July affirmations. This is a call and response, and please repeat it with meaning. There's also a copy of it on your chairs. You're welcome to take those home and say these during the month. Today, I embrace the beauty of my divine imperfections.
Today I embrace the beauty of my divine imperfections.
As I do so, I discover profound possibilities, cultivate self-acceptance, and open myself to limitless growth.
As I do so, I discover profound possibilities, cultivate self-acceptance, and open myself to limitless growth.
Today, I embrace imperfection as a natural part of the human experience.
Today I embrace imperfection as a natural part of the human experience.
As I do so, I am better equipped to navigate the inevitable bumps in the road.
As I do so, I am better equipped to navigate the inevitable bumps in the road.
Today, as I embrace imperfection as a transformative shift in perspective.
Today I embrace as a transformative shift in perspective.
As I do so, I am aware that the path to spiritual and personal evolution lies not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the recognition and celebration of my imperfections.
As I do so, I am aware that the path to spiritual and personal evolution lies not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the recognition and celebration of my imperfections.
Today, I embrace imperfection and accept all of myself. As I do so, I create a vibrant and expansive experience of life that reflects my inherent beauty and potential.
As I do so, I create a vibrant and expansive experience of life that reflects my inherent beauty and potential.
And so it is. Woo, that was powerful. You may be seated if you'd like. I almost want to do that again. Well, we get the whole month to do it, so. Please turn within once again as I speak a word of gratitude for this beautiful day. So grateful in this moment for the palpable feeling of love and community that has poured forth today. And each of the beautiful faces here at 4 Points, for all of those online, for our greater CSL community that are meeting and loving up each other all across the world. Grateful for the power and presence of the one divine law and love. Grateful to know my unity with that. Grateful to know that we are all connected by that golden thread of God stuff. So grateful for Reverend Casey, who has come today to infuse their energy into this room, into our Sunday celebration service. So grateful for their presence in the world. So grateful for Reverend Dusty, for Mary Ann, for Sandy. Grateful for each person in this room who has made this service be the perfectly imperfect happening that it is. Grateful for each of our work in the world that takes us one step closer to creating a world that works for all. And a blessing on each of our lives as we go about this week, taking this message with us, being a little more mindful of staying in that flow, recognizing the resistance to it, being a little more okay with our imperfection. For all of these reasons, I am grateful, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you all again so very much for being here today or for inviting us into your homes. I, too, am so grateful for the presence of Reverend Casey Taylor and Sandy today, really adding their brilliance into this service, for all the volunteers and the practitioners and for everybody here. Please remember, we are having lunch bunch at Tribeca Tavern at 500 Leadstone Way, and it's actually in Cary. I've been giving you a whole bunch of opportunity today to see beyond the knowing that we don't have to be perfect and that we can be imperfective, and you can all thank me later. Have a great, great rest of the day. I love you all.